Hello everyone, I'm Sara Beery and I'm presenting this year's iWildCam competition. iWildCam is focused on species identification and challenging camera trap data. Camera traps are heat or motion activated cameras that are placed in the wild by biologists to study animal populations and behavior. There are thousands of organizations, tens of thousands of projects, millions of camera traps, and hundreds of millions of camera trap images globally. But camera trap data is challenging. There are confounding factors such as the staticness of the camera and the lack of a human photographer that make this data significantly different from what you see in ImageNet or iNaturalist. All of these images have an animal in them, and we would hope that a machine learning model could both find and categorize all of these animals. However, state-of-the-art species categorization models don't seem to generalize well to held-out camera deployments. This means that if you train a machine learning model on a set of camera traps and then test it on a new deployment, even from the exact same region and the same set of species, you see an increase in error across the board. The iWildCam 2020 competition is focused on this exact problem. The metric is top 1 categorization accuracy. So for every image, you need to predict either a species or that there are no species present. And the test data is from unseen locations. This means that none of the test images are from camera trap deployments that were seen during training. The iWildCam 2020 dataset is provided by the Wildlife Conservation Society. There are 280,000 WCS camera trap images, 552 camera locations, and we've provided bounding boxes from the AI for Earth megadetector. In order to help tackle this generalization challenge, we've also provided multimodal data. This includes Landsat 8 imagery for every camera location in both train and test. And we provide multiple train points for every location. So the median number of images, of satellite images, for every camera deployment is 147. We've obfuscated the exact locations of the camera in order to protect the species present. We also provide iNaturalist data from the 2017 and 2018 challenge datasets that match our iWildCam challenge camera trap species set. There are 13,000 of these additional images, and they cover 75 of the classes seen in iWildCam. We'd like to thank all of the organizations that make this challenge possible. And, of course, we'd like to thank FGVC.
Welcome to the FGVC Plant Pathology 2020 Challenge Dataset to classify foliar diseases of apples. This is a collaboration between Cornell Agritech in Geneva, New York, and Cornell Tech in New York City. Apple is one of the most important temperate fruit crops in terms of its value, in the US, approximately $15 billion annually, and production. Many bacterial, fungal, and viral pathogens and insects pose a constant threat to apple orchards in the growing season. Precise and early identification of diseases and pests is needed for timely management to prevent crop loss. Currently, disease and pest detection in commercial apple orchards relies on manual scouting by crop consultants. However, human scouting is usually time-consuming, expensive, and, in some cases, prone to errors. Apple foliar disease dataset and annotation. RGB images of apple foliar diseases were captured using a Canon Rebel T5i DSLR and smartphones under various conditions. Images were manually annotated for apple scab Figure A, cedar apple rust Figure B, healthy leaves, and complex disease symptoms from multiple diseases Figure C. The final dataset consists of 3,651 images with 1,200 apple scab, 1,399 cedar apple rust, 187 complex disease, and 865 healthy leaves. The dataset was randomly split into training and test datasets. The training dataset had 2,921 images, 80%, and the test dataset had 723 images, 20%. The figure shows images from the dataset showing symptoms of A. apple scab, B. cedar apple rust, and C. multiple diseases in a single leaf captured under various noise conditions. Plant Pathology Challenge Competition at Kaggle. The competition was launched at Kaggle on March 9, 2020 and was open until May 26, 2020 with the following main objectives. Objective 1. Accurately classify a given image from the testing dataset into different disease categories or a healthy leaf. Objective 2. accurately distinguish between the many diseases, sometimes more than one, on a single leaf. Mean AUC, area under the ROC curve, values will be used to select the 3 winners with top models. A total of 1,345 teams have participated in the competition and have submitted approximately 5,796 entries. The figure shows the frequency distribution of entries with top AUC scores from each team. Approximately 28% of teams had entries between 0.95 and 0.97 AUC. 31% of teams had top entries above 0.97 AUC. More than 20 contending teams reported an AUC value greater than 0.985.
Hi everyone, I am Jong-Chyi from UMass Amherst. I'm going to introduce the Semi-Supervised iNaturalist AVs challenge in FGVC workshop. Here is the motivation of creating this new challenge. Since there are a lot of unlabeled data available online, there has been a lot of attention on semi-supervised learning. However, current benchmarks for semi-supervised learning are too simplistic, such as CIFAR-10 or SBHN. We want to focus on a more realistic setting, including the following 3 differences. First, we create this challenge for a fine-grained classification, which is a harder task. Second, the class distribution is imbalanced, and the imbalance ratio of the unlabeled data is unknown. This is different from existing datasets, where the unlabeled data is always uniformly distributed. Third, we provide an additional set of unlabeled data from a slightly different domain than the labeled data. Here is an overview of our dataset. We first select 200 species of birds from iNaturalist. The number of images per category has a long-tailed distribution. 10% of the images are with labels, while the rest 90% of images are unlabeled, as shown in orange and black curves below. In total, we have around 4,000 labeled images and 26,000 unlabeled images. The validation and test set have a uniform distribution across the categories, as shown in blue curve. In addition, we provide another set of unlabeled images from a different set of categories. Here we select another 800 classes from the birds classes. In total, we have around 122,000 out-of-class unlabeled images. This reflects a common scenario where a coarser taxonomic label of an image can be easily obtained. We would like to see how semi-supervised learning methods perform when there is domain mismatch between the labeled and unlabeled data. We have 30 teams competing on Kaggle, and so far the leaders have around 90% of accuracy on the test set. I would like to thank Subransu for the advice, Grant for the help of creating the dataset, Kaggle team for setting up the competition, and the FGVC organizers, especially Ocean and Christine. Thank you.
I'm Kiat from Google Research. In this video, I'll be talking about the Herbarium Challenge 2020, which was a challenge that we ran for the 7th Fine-Grained Visual Categorization workshop at CVPR 2020. In this challenge, we wanted participants to classify species from digitally imaged herbarium sheets. We provided them with a dataset comprising 1.1 million sheets representing 32,000 plant species, kindly provided by the New York Botanical Garden. This dataset has a long-tailed distribution with a minimum of 3 to a maximum of 700 examples per species. On these sheets, there is text label and barcodes, which we have automatically blurred using an OCR algorithm, so that participants will not use this information in the classification. We've also provided annotations by the NYBG staff, chief of which are the species labels, which are the main classification objective. We have also provided additional metadata, such as supercategory labels of family and genus, as well as region information, so that participants may be able to use these for the classification algorithms. This is the second year that we are running this challenge, and compared to last year, as you can see from this table, we have greatly increased the scale, variety, and long-tailedness of this dataset, making it a much more challenging problem for participants. Here are some example sheets of what the participants will be using to train their algorithm. The evaluation metric that we chose was macro average F1 score. For this metric, we calculate the F1 score for each class and then take the average. The rationale for using this metric is that it helps to deal with the class imbalance and ensures a more consistent performance across classes, avoiding biasing classes that may appear more frequently in the data distribution. We've held out 20% of the data as the test set data. 30% of this test set data was used for the public leaderboard that participants were able to see on Kaggle, and 70% were used for the private leaderboard, which we used for the final evaluation. We ran this competition for more than 2 months, from 9th March to 26th May, and here are the summary of the top 10 team results. Overall, we thought that the participants did an amazing job, with the top 14 teams having a macro F score of more than 0.6, the 3rd to 7th teams having a F1 score of more than 0.7, and the top 2 teams having essentially the same score of 0.84. Thank you. If you're interested, the competition and dataset are available on Kaggle at this link and QR code, and we'll be providing further information after this video. Thank you very much.
This video will give an overview of iNaturalist Fashion Challenge at FGVC7. This year, we introduced a new fashion dataset called Fashionpedia, along with a new task for fashion and apparel. First, I'll give a brief summary of the dataset key characteristics. Visual analysis of clothing is a topic that has received increasing attention in recent years. Some of the existing datasets focus on categorizing types of the garment, while the others focus on detection, for example, bounding box, or segmentation of apparel categories. There are other datasets that also include fine-grained attributes. Fashionpedia, our new dataset, also belongs to this section. Additionally, we took one step further and segment both garment types and garment details. Fashion experts were recruited to annotate the localized attributes. We also introduced a unified fashion ontology informed by product description from the web and built by fashion experts. Our ontology provides a rich schema for interpretation and organization of individual garments, styles, or fashion collections. We have more than 300,000 masks in our training images. The masks in our dataset also have the most complex boundaries comparing to 4 other common segmentation datasets. Our standardized taxonomy contains 46 apparel categories and 294 fine-grained attributes. In this year's iMat Fashion Challenge, we propose a novel fine-grained segmentation task using the proposed Fashionpedia dataset. The proposed task unifies both categorization and segmentation of rich and complex apparel categories and attributes, which is an important step towards real-world applications. 54 teams participated in total. Please also check out the following websites for more information. We thank all the collaborators for making this dataset and challenge happen, and thanks for listening.
Hello, my name is Chenyang. I'm happy to introduce our dataset and challenge collaborated with the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Our dataset, iMat collection, focusing on recognizing fine-grained artwork attributes, and this is the second time we've been a part of FGVC competition fleet. The dataset is powered by the open access program from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. On February 7th, 2017, the Met made all images of public domain works in its collection available under Creative Commons Zero. Whether you are an artist or designer, an educator or student, a professional or a hobbyist, you now have more than 400,000 images of artworks from the Met collection to use, share, and remix, without restriction. This policy change to open access is an important statement about Met's commitment to increasing access to the collection in the digital age. As a result, this enables many interesting applications. For example, now you can own your very own artwork copies in Animal Crossing. In 2019, iMat collection debuts in FGVC6, and we launch a competition focusing on attributes from free tag and culture. We present 1,000 attributes and 155,000 images. And this year, we include 3 more attribute verticals: medium, dimension, and country, with more images and more attributes. For more details, please check our competition page, GitHub page, and our dataset paper. Thank you.